because it's been quite an experience for me and worth sharing, I think, and talking about. Maybe inspire someone else to do something cool. So yeah, if this gets used for any mayhem stuff, I'm going to start off with, my name's Cooper Palmer from Rock Springs, Wyoming. I own and operate Iron Cowboy CrossFit. I've been coaching CrossFit now, going on 12 years. I've owned my own affiliate for going on 9. But yeah, I drank the CrossFit Kool-Aid, a little bit early, not the first crew for sure, but my level 1 instructors were all the CrossFit Games athletes at the time. Now you don't see that as much, but guys like Matt Chan, Chris Spieler, like that era, Jason Kalipa, Rich Froning. Obviously Rich has extended that career longer than a lot of those other guys did, but anyway, that's kind of how I got into fitness more so. I mean, I was a college athlete and lifted weights and trained for sports, but fell in love with CrossFit and the training methodology and those workouts. But yeah, I think that's kind of the gist of who I am. I'm married, I got 2 kids and another one on the way. I'm super blessed to have 2 amazing, beautiful little girls and a great wife who's fortunately been very graceful to me during this time and let me train. And I don't want to say put on the back burner, but definitely shift some priorities to where I can make this happen. Have I put in for Leadville before? So back to kind of the origin story of how I got into CrossFit. I mentioned at my level 1, a guy named Matt Chan was one of my instructors at my first CrossFit level 1. And, those guys, they're very inspiring, the way they talk about fitness and nutrition and everything. And I can remember just looking up to Matt and thinking, man, that guy's carries himself well, he speaks intelligently. All of those guys do at the level 1s. But something I was just drawn to him as an athlete. I just liked how he carried himself. He was kind of someone similar to my size that I thought that's kind of a good comparison, if you will, because a lot of the CrossFit guys are a little shorter and stuff. But anyway, so just following him over the years. After that, as an athlete, I saw that he did the Leadville 100 mountain bike race in, I'm going to butcher this, I don't know what year it was. I want to say it was like 20, maybe 18, somewhere in there. Probably close to 6 to 8 years ago at this point, I think is when he did it. And I thought, holy crap, that is just a really cool, that's cool. It's a really cool accomplishment. One, because he's not, really like a true endurance athlete. Just the thought of 100 miles on a bike. So I kind of chalked it up to myself. I'm like, man, I like riding bikes. I grew up racing motocross for a while. And as I got out of college sports, I got a mountain bike, and I leisurely mountain biked. So I thought, man, that'd be kind of cool to do. That's kind of a bucket list item for me. Will I find myself doing it again, or totally leaning into that mountain bike racing as a sport? Probably not, but I thought that'd be one heck of a cool experience to have at least once in your life. So probably about 4 years ago, probably 2020, I kind of started snooping around it a little bit more and finding out how to get into the race. Doing some research and found out through the lottery, it's a lottery system. So I started dropping an application or whatever to get my name thrown in the hat. And year after year after year after year, I did not get picked, which is fine. And it was not surprising, really. I mean, the amount of people that are wanting to do Leadville and participate in this big of an event it's a big number. So I was not shocked to find out like when I not get selected. The other thing I will say is over those years, I'd kind of lean in. I'd kind of have over those years I've kind of leaned into, I guess for lack of a better word, forcing a relationship with Matt and Cherie. You know, following their workouts from Train FTW and communicating with them on a regular basis had really kind of started probably around the same time, probably around 2021. Whether that would be asking about workouts or whatever. You know, and then actually I dropped in, I was in Denver, I can't remember what for, I think getting a tattoo, and I just reached out to Matt and said, hey, I'm going to be in Denver, let's work out. And surprisingly enough, he said, all right, work out in my house or whatever, come over to the garage gym. We did a quick workout. I got to hang out with him and Cherie a little bit, and they were familiar with me because we've been talking online. But that was kind of like our first, I guess, time hanging out in person. And, you know, ultimately kind of grew our relationship from there, whether it was forced or not on my end. Those guys probably think I'm, you know, the young guy that doesn't leave them alone. But I've always told Matt and Cherie this, that I want to surround myself with people smarter than me that have wealth of knowledge, and those guys are exactly that, and they've done a lot. They're very smart and they've learned a lot, so I like learning from them. And they have a way of life, living experiences that I admire. So anyway, couple years have gone by. I'm still applying for the Leadville 100 through the application, and I don't know what or when, but I know for a fact I've probably mentioned it to Cherie a couple times about, oh man, Leadville 100, that's a bucket list item, you know, because she actually got in and did it. I can't remember what year it was, if it was a year or 2 years ago, but she got in and did the race and finished. So one day I'm on social media and I get tagged by her, and she tags me in the post from Rich Froning, who I do follow, and you know, I didn't know on a personal level, but I follow him and everything CrossFit Mayhem, you know, and Rich did this race last year, had a blast, and they decided to basically partner with the Leadville Race Series Foundation and his nonprofit organization Mayhem Mission, and put together a fundraising team. So it was 10 spots, and Mayhem Mission was raffling off those spots to be a part of the CrossFit Mayhem Mission team. I guess it's CrossFit Mayhem, and then really it's a Mayhem Mission team, excuse me. But she tagged me in this, and just that's where I'd see it, and I was like, it's like $10 a raffle, $10 a ticket or something. This is probably, don't quote me on the time frame, but I think this was like November or December of 2023. And I'm like, at that point, I believe I'd already found out that I was not in, I didn't get into Leadville through the normal lottery system. So I was like, all right, I'll do it, you know, $10, it's a great cause, Mayhem Mission, throw my name in the hat. So I kind of did it and kind of forgot about it. And anyway, a couple months go by or whatever. I remember this for a couple reasons, but one, it was my birthday. So it's February 16th, 2024. You know, running the gym and doing some of the stuff I do, I'm up early. I'd gone and coached in the morning at the 5 and 6 a.m. class. I went home to go get my kids and get them ready for school and daycare. And I can remember just opening my phone kind of after that class. I laid down on the couch for a second, you know, and I'm like scrolling, all of a sudden I see Rich Froning's head pop up on my thing. And it's about announcing the the 10 participants who have been selected to be a part of Mayhem Mission's team and participate in Leadville 100. And I'm like, oh shit, okay. I remember I put in for this, you know. So watching the video, he starts rattling off names. And lo and behold, the very last name on the list, he goes, you know, Cooper Palmer, Rock Springs, Wyoming. And I go, holy shit, you know, like loud. To where Kyler, my wife, was like, what? What's wrong? You know, she thought something happened to the girls. And I go, I just got picked to go to Leadville 100. And I'm like, and I was just completely mind blown. You know, I'm typically not one to win stuff like this or anything, but it was just it was kind of funny. It was on my birthday. You know, my friends I've connected with, Matt and Cherie, or who tagged me in the post to enter. And Rich, you know, calls my name last on the day of the selection, and it was just kind of like, I don't know, it was meant to happen, you know. Anyway, that's kind of a long version of the story, but I do think it helps kind of understand where I came from and where my thought process was, you know. You know, when people ask me all the time, like, are you big into mountain bike racing, or, you know, why the Leadville 100? I'd have members at the gym I'd tell this to, and they'd be like, oh, have you done any other races? I'm like, no. I'm like, oh, so you just want to go do like the hardest one in America, right off the bat? And to me, that was kind of why it was so cool, you know. I can't say I would feel the same way about this race if I had done like a bunch of other races prior to it, or if I was some experienced mountain bike racer. And not to discredit that at all, but there's definitely something scary about biting off this big of an event. It's essentially like my first real event. So, you know, kind of speaking on that, just giving a timeline. So we get picked, you know, and then they were really good. Mayhem Mission was really great communicating. They've done a lot for us as participants to help us get us on our feet and get us going, because some of us had a lot of experience, some of us had no experience. You know, there's a couple people that have gotten selected in our group that are actually pretty big time mountain bikers and are going to have a really good time finishing the Leadville 100. And there's a few other of us, myself I think kind of falls in this category, where you like to ride your bike but you've never really raced it. You like to ride your bike but you've never really gone this distance. And there's a question mark on if you're going to finish the race and get one of the belt buckles, right? There's a belt buckle for under 12 hours and there's a big belt buckle for under 9. A lot of the Mayhem crew has their sights set on a big belt buckle from the under 9 category, because like I said, a lot of them are experienced bikers. But with that being said, you know, we set up weekly or bi-weekly Zoom calls to talk about. They've been really great. David Curtis, Leadville native here, has kind of helped lead the charge. He's been excellent. I mean, they've had meetings with the guys who did Trainer Road, which is an app that we had access to for training. We've had guys from the Saturday app, which is a nutritionist who started an app for events like this. So we've learned a lot about training, we learned about nutrition, we've had calls to talk about just all the questions and concerns that you might have about this race, how to prepare, kind of making sure everyone's accountable. You know, we got Strava groups going on with climb challenges and total time challenges, and it's just been really nice to have that accountability. I will say without a doubt that if I would have been selected without this group, I would not be where I'm at right now. This group has definitely lended a ton of knowledge and shared a bunch of experience, whether that was bike gear, bike setup, training, nutrition, training rides, you know, anything really. It's been really, really, really helpful. So again, thank you to those guys for putting this together and letting us be a part of it. David and everyone at CrossFit Mayhem that's contributed to this. It's definitely been worth it, and I know it's a lot of you guys' plate. This is also the week of the CrossFit Games, so CrossFit Mayhem is really strung thin, but it's been great. It's been great, and the experience and the stuff. I'm just really excited to see it all come to a head here at the end on Saturday, and see what everyone can do. But yeah, let me go on to my next question I got here. I was talking about the bike racing, so I can just give you a timeline. So again, I found out I was getting picked in February. Got picked. I had a bike at the time. It was a Specialized stump jumper alloy, like the base model stump jumper that I picked up back in about 2018. And I've been riding it. It was a really good bike. But I instantly, when I got picked, thought, I don't need any things working against me. At the time, I was I'm 6 foot, and at that time I weighed about 224. And that's big for a mountain bike rider, especially in an event like this. Time and weight are definitely correlated. So I thought, I need to start looking at new bikes, I need to start doing some different stuff to find out, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it right and give myself the best chance at finishing the race and getting one of the belt buckles. I instantly started telling people, sharing, talking to people, and CrossFit Mayhem, again, and Mayhem Mission have done a lot. They partnered with Specialized and helped get some stuff going there. But yeah, I sold my mountain bike as soon as I could, pretty much, and I ended up with this guy. This is an Epic 8 Evo, new model for this year. I'd be remiss if I did not bring up the amount of help I've had from my local bike shop. His name's Jason Medler at the Bike and Trike. And you guys, he totally went out of his way, above and beyond, to help make sure I had what I needed. So he helped get me this bike, which this bike was really hard to find and get because, of course, it was a new model, and people were wanting it, and it ironically had happened to come out so if I found out I got picked up in February, it came out in April. So he got on the horn and called his rep and called some different friends and was able to track one down and get it down to Rock Springs for me. And they've done everything from help put it together to really just take care of me on maintenance and services and teach me a lot of things too. Some of the mechanical things I had known a little bit from racing motocross, but that was years and years ago. And to be honest, my dad was my mechanic, so I was not very brushed up on it. So I've learned a lot about working on bikes and taking care of bikes from the Mayhem group that I'm in, and also Jason Medler at Bike and Trike. So really want to give a shout out to him. If you guys need a bike, he will take care of you. The Bike and Trike in Rock Springs, right? And I'm repping them here. Got a couple stickers on my helmet too. So, but anyway, I picked up this bike. Again, a bike that was going to be really good for the race, but also a really good bike for me for down the road. I wanted something that I was going to keep for a long, long time because it's a big investment. And then I started training. Living in Wyoming, the training was difficult in the first few months there when I got picked up. I was probably trying to ride a C2 or Concept 2 bike, I'm going to say twice a week, starting in February once I found out. And then trickling into March, I probably upped that to about 3 times a week. And then I kind of probably sustained that actually into April too, about the 3 times a week mark. But nothing over probably an hour. And I was still doing CrossFit workouts, like my normal workouts every single day. I normally train Monday through Saturday, take a Sunday off. And again, shout out to Matt and Sheree. I do a lot of the Train for the Win stuff. It's great programming. Fits my lifestyle for what I want and the goals I have. And it paired nicely with like, hey, if you want a little more, I can go do a bike ride. So I did a lot of that. Probably again March and April, and then in May finally started warming up. Been windy spring in Wyoming, windy summer. But I'd get out on my stump jumper that I had it for a little bit. I was able to get out on a few rides for that. And then I want to say I can't remember the dates exactly, but I want to say the beginning of May is when I finally got this bike. And then I thought, talking to the Mayhem group and talking to people and stuff, talking to my wife, I'm like, I need to get a race under my belt. I didn't want my first ever bike race to be the Leadville, just to, again, try to rule out any potential mistakes and stuff. So I signed up. Me and Kyler went to school in Grand Junction, and I signed up for a race that they do there every summer. It's put on now. It's called Rides and Vibes. It's basically a bike race and music downtown, but they have 3 or 4 different distances, and the furthest one they do is called the Filthy 40. So I was like, I'm going to do that. 40 miles. It sounds like a good test. It sounds like a step below the distance I'm doing here this weekend. But I think the biggest thing with that is you should have done some more course research, because all I looked at really was the distance and the elevation profile. The elevation was about 6,500 total feet of elevation gain over the course of 40 miles, which I thought, well, that looks like it matches up well, because Leadville is obviously 105 miles and 12,000 feet of elevation gain over the course of the race. So I thought, almost half the distance, almost half the elevation gain. This is a great test. So anyway, first mountain bike race, brand new bike, get out there, find out within the first 20 minutes I'm in over my head. And not from a fitness perspective per se, but like I said, I should have done some more course research. Technical perspective, the course that I signed up for in the Grand Junction mountain biking community in general it's kind of world renowned for some of their trails, and rightfully so. They have a lot of great trails, but technical for someone of my skill level, it was above my pay grade. And yeah, I mean, I hung with the first group for a while, and then once it started getting into really technical, some of this rock climb stuff where you have to really maintain your power up and over these rocks, I wasn't able to do it. I'm also like new to clip-ins, so yeah, I think over the course of the day I wrecked 6 times, and majority of those, only one of them was not from my clip-ins. And, I'd go to try to climb some rock or something technical and biff it because I'd get stuck in that clip-in and wasn't avid, a good enough rider to keep going. I think I'd won for my front tire washout going down a hill. But yeah, I kind of beat myself up, and it took me almost 2 hours longer, I think, than I anticipated, based on my training times. So yeah, super humbling. And then, but good, a good experience either way. Glad I didn't get hurt. And learned a lot, a little bit about nutrition and some stuff like that. So anyway, I got that race under my belt, and I kind of learned there that what I was doing was still not enough, so I kind of leaned into biking more, trying to bike basically 4 to 5 days a week. Again, most of those rides weren't over an hour. Some of them were. I tried to do like one longer ride, and for me a longer ride was about 2.5 hours maybe. And a lot of this, you guys, was just mainly because of my time, having the business. I'm also kind of like the head strength and conditioning guy for the Green River High School athletics department in the summers. So in the summer, I'm over in Green River, which is the neighboring town. 15-minute drive over there, do morning weights for 3 hours, haul ass back to Rock Springs, get my kids, get them to daycare, go to my job, work until 4:30 or 5:30, go get the kids, go home. again, it's just a lot in a busy day. So as much as I wanted to train more, I truly feel like I trained more. I truly feel like I trained kind of up to this race as much as I really could with the time I had allotted, you know, without completely neglecting my responsibilities. But so yeah, I got on the bike more as it continued to warm up. You know, and then I did something probably like in June. It's probably the beginning of June. I, you know, FTP, functional threshold power, big biking test. I had done one of those on the Concept 2 bike. I did the ramp test, and you ramp up like every minute, right? It tries to get you to hold a higher wattage and, you know, sustain a certain cadence or RPMs. I did it, and I did 245, and it's not that good. You know, there's a lot of equations. People that are way smarter than me have figured out, plug in this FTP and your body weight and your altitude and yada yada yada. It'll spit out kind of an estimated time to finish Leadville. And at 245, I'm right on the cusp. Like, you know, on a good day, I can finish it in 11:30. On an okay day, I'll finish it like at 11:55, and on a bad day, I'll be over the 12-hour mark. So I had retested it. I think I can't remember exactly when, but I let like probably 4 to 6 weeks go by training and retested it for my first test. And I think my second test I think was sometime in June. And you guys, I got the exact same score. And I'm like, this is killing me. Like, I feel better on the bike. When I go ride my bike, I feel fitter. I don't feel as fatigued. I feel better, but the score is telling me I'm not any fitter. You know, so another guy in town, this is funny that this all worked out this year, but there's an older guy in town named Phil Putnam. He's 70 years old, Rock Springs guy, big into mountain biking, and I knew he was big into Leadville, and ironically, he's also doing Leadville. So we found, you know, we talked, and he was gracious enough to lend me, he has 2 Zwift indoor trainers. He's like, you know, I think you need to get on this indoor trainer a little bit, because you're going to ride your bike more, but you're not like getting focused workouts, you know. I'm like, all right, yeah, appreciate it. So I took it, put it right in the gym to where, again, I'm saving time, again, because that was a big issue for me, is just like trying to fit it into my day. And whether this is right or wrong, you know, I connect my bike, I plug in on, for some reason I got drawn to the app Ruby. It has nothing to do with Mayhem Mission, or, you know, Mayhem Mission was letting us use Trainer Road, but I was kind of late to that doing this, so I'd done some rides on Ruby, and I kind of liked the app interface better, so I did that. I got on there, and they have a bunch of workout plans. I clicked Climber's workout plan, because Leadville is a lot of climbing. So Climber's workout plan, and I started just hammering at those workouts, one a day, trying not to miss any. You know, I shouldn't say one a day. I'd probably do 3 or 4 of those a week, because I think the workout plan had 3 or 4 of them in a week. And then the other days I was riding my bike. So I'd either go for like an hour ride or a longer ride. And to me, a longer ride was anything over 20, 25 miles. And tried to find some different stuff, you know, different terrain. You know, we traveled on some weekends, so I got to ride in different parts of Wyoming, which was nice to try to find some more elevation and stuff like that. So anyway, that was kind of my recipe, like hard through June and July, was do the Ruby workouts 3 to 4 times a week, and then ride my bike the other 2 to 3 days, to where I was pretty much on my bike 6 days a week, no matter what. Some days 7, sometimes 7, kind of just depended on some things, you know, family life, traveling. But I wasn't ever upset if I took a rest day, because I needed it. To this day, I still have not retested my FTP, and I'm not going to, because one, the race is in 2 days or 3 days, and then the next part of that is I'm not going to let it define my result. I think it's improved. I really do, because again, the Ruby workouts were, you know, more focused intervals, which is kind of what I needed, versus just like going out for a ride and kind of finding random terrain. without a power meter on my bike. I mean, I'm using a Garmin Edge GPS computer, but I don't have the power meter pedals, so a lot of my intensity is based on heart rate, time, and distance is kind of the main three things I would watch when I was training. So the Ruvi, being connected to the Zwift trainer, really let me focus on wattage and hitting specific intervals, and I think it's made a big difference. Not to say that this is a very big indicator, but I know on certain courses in Strava in my local community, I was able to beat those by a lot, and there were courses I had rode. So maybe when I'd rode in May, if I just rode it back in July, I beat my best time by 40 seconds. So I think that's paid off on the training side. And then talking to Matt, again, I brought up Matt earlier, and being connected to him has been good because he's got the experience of doing Leadville. He's an experienced athlete in other avenues, and he'd be like, all right, how's training going? And I'd tell him, and he'd be like, okay, well, if you want to do this, you need to quit CrossFit workouts, basically. And it's hard to hear because I like the variety of CrossFit, and I like, my personality type is the way that's one of the reasons I'm drawn to CrossFit, is I like the daily variety. But yeah, I think probably starting in mid-June or end of June is kind of when I got that text from him, and I've pretty much been, we'll call it 7 weeks now of biking only. I do and have been sneaking in some accessories to still maintain some strength, so I would always prioritize my bike workout and then do some accessory work. So one day it'd be arms or something, next day shoulders, next day pulling stuff, and still some lower leg accessories and abs and lower back and those types of things, but never the focus of my workout. But yeah, I kind of dropped the Metcons, or the typical classic CrossFit conditioning workouts that you'd see at a gym, because to be honest, they weren't going to give me much more fitness in that area, right? I mean, Leadville's, for me, hoping an 11-hour day, 11-hour race. I need to be working on my aerobic engine and my stamina and my muscular endurance, and not short, high output bursts of intensity, because I was already pretty good at that. And that fitness isn't just going to disappear either. If I have to do a short sprint up a hill on my bike, I'm going to have more than enough available strength to do that. Yeah. I don't know what else, you guys. I think, I'm excited for race day. Excited to have my family and my friends up here. I've been up here now for only a day now, by myself. Just kind of got the camper set up, kind of getting everything in. I went for a ride last night, a short one. I'm going to go on a group ride tonight with the Mayhem Mission crew. And I think the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is, again, just the experience and reminding myself to be grateful and blessed. There's a lot of people that would love to be here doing this race. There's a lot of people that would love to be able to ride their bike, period. I'm thankful and blessed enough to be in a situation with work that I can take a few days off of work and come up here and do this. I'm really fortunate that my friends and family are going to come up here and crew and support me. I got a lot of people coming. I got my wife, my kids, my mom and my dad, my stepmom, my uncle, his wife. I mean, a lot. Friends, a coach and friends from the gym. I'm going to have 10 people here to crew, which is a lot more than other people are going to have from talking to my friends in the Mayhem group. But yeah, I mean, ultimately my goal is to finish under 12 hours. I really want that belt buckle. I know it's going to be hard. I know there's going to be good parts and bad parts of the day, where you're kind of on this roller coaster of emotions of how much something sucked and then how much something feels good. Nutrition-wise, we didn't really talk about that. I can talk about that in a second, but I mean, ultimately, I know I'm going to have to really just push myself, which I know I can. I don't know if I'm stressed out, but it's just mostly the expectation I have of myself. I really have a high expectation of myself to be able to accomplish this. I've just watched a lot of YouTube videos and people doing this, and people that as arrogant as it sounds, I feel like I'm fitter than not finish. So I'm like, okay. And then there's also people that I would think I'm probably fitter than finish. So there's like this weird confidence boost of like, if they can do it, I can do it situation. Not saying it's going to be easy, but I know I'm capable, I think. I've put in a lot of time. My Strava says I'm at, I think it's over 100 hours and almost 1,000 miles since March 4th, which is basically when I downloaded the Strava app. But yeah, I think it's going to come down to nutrition and just staying moving. My nutrition, I can talk on that real quick. They've been really big on that on our Mayhem meetings and talking to Matt as well. A much more refined approach in some ways as far as being efficient, and then also what your gut is going to allow you to handle. So my plan is I'm shooting for 120 grams of carbohydrates per hour, and I'm going to try to be eating every 15 minutes on the bike. When I say eating, I mean basically taking in some form of calories, whether that's through liquid nutrition like a carbohydrate powder, and then gels, a lot of gels, and then some bars and stuff like that. My big thing that I was worried about was just gut distress. So eating a bunch of other like real solid foods, I don't have a big plan for that. I'm going to have some bananas and some emergency stuff planned at the crew stations if I feel like I need some more. But what I'm carrying on my bike is kind of what you see here. I got 2 bottles. Those are going to be basically ultra concentrated carbohydrate and sodium. So a lot of scoops, not a lot of water. Luckily the company's product I'm using mixes well, and I can handle it fine. It's the one I've been training and practicing with too, so I think my stomach is handling it well. And I'm using the same company's gels and bars. But calculating it out, it's a long, big day. But I mean, I can talk about them. I don't think it's against the rules here. This is my video, but CrossFit Mayhem's partnered with other people, but BP and Bear Performance Nutrition is who I have found to really like for this stuff. Their G1M Sport is the carbohydrate powder I like. Their Go Gel and their Go Bar. They're all they all have good flavors. They're palatable. They're not a texture that's hard to handle for me. And the nutrients make sense as far as like for my goal. The 120 grams of carbs per hour, it lines up really well. And my stomach's been able to handle it, and I kind of like the product. So I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that, unless you guys want to hit me up. But yeah, I would recommend it. It's been good for me, but I'm going to basically be heavily relying on those guys. And hopefully it all goes well, because a lot of people will tell you Leadville's an eating competition on a bike. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'll try to post some other stuff as we go, but real quick, I do want to just finish with a couple thank yous. I've had a lot of help. Again, I first want to tell you guys again, thank you to the Mayhem Mission group for doing this and letting us be a part of this race. Being selected is definitely a life-changing event for me, and being able to participate, I'm very, very thankful and blessed to be able to be here and do this. And everything that Mayhem Mission is doing is really, really great. It's a great fundraiser, nonprofit that's changing lives. So if you're watching this and you're not familiar with Mayhem Mission, please go check them out. They're doing doing the Lord's work. And then, you know, again, thank you to David Curtis for kind of leading the charge on that group. It's been very, very helpful, and kind of probably added a lot of stress to his life taking care of all of us, but he's been great. I want to say thanks to Matt Shree-Chan, again, for being friends that I can lean on and kind of bounce questions off of and get advice from on anything regarding this race, training, nutrition, etc. You know, some local companies that helped me out from Rock Springs, because again, doing this, getting a lot of the gear I didn't have, being able to take some time off work, doing all this stuff is definitely not a cheap thing, and I definitely had some donations. So White Mountain Dental, Rock Springs, Dr. Tyler Carlson helped me out a bunch. Rock Springs Honda Toyota, Dustin Moses, he's a guy I train with almost every single day in the gym, and has been really a good friend to me, and has really done anything he could to ever help. But they've helped sponsor me for this race. I'll be rocking their logo on one of my hydration bladders. And then again, I already said this earlier, but the Bike and Trike of Rock Springs, Jason Medler, probably aren't going to find a better dealer out there. He deals Specialized, Trek. He's got a bunch of different bikes in there. If you need a bike, he's the guy to talk to. If you need serviced, he's the guy to talk to. Again, have helped me out a ton. Brokerage Southwest has helped me out. And, you know, the other things I think, again, I need to talk about was I had to fundraise a certain amount of money to be able to do it, right? Because it was kind of a charity thing. So I needed to raise a certain amount of money to secure my spot after I got selected. And I've put out a lot of people, I've probably seen it if you were a friend of mine on social media, but requesting donations, and my gym members, you guys came through in a big way. So I can't thank the Iron Cowboy CrossFit members, you know, my clients enough, because you really have helped support this and make this happen by helping me reach those fundraising dollars, and other people in the community that have donated. I know there wasn't just my members, but a lot of them were members. But I wanted to say thank you guys for donating to that cause. If you guys looked it up, or if you just donated blindly. But the Leadville Foundation does a really good thing for high school kids here that are needing scholarships, helps get kids to college. It's the majority of what the Leadville Foundation money goes towards. And then the Mayhem Mission was a separate fundraiser, right? You guys can go check those guys out too. But again, just thank you to my members. There's one in particular I need to thank, because she threw up a large chunk of money that made me finally hit my goal, and that's Rochelle Stratton. Rochelle, I can't thank you enough. I know Leadville kind of a special place in your heart, and you have family that was from here, and that was raised here, and you came up here and actually did one of the half marathons this year. I can't thank you enough for finally, you know, throwing up a significant amount of money to help me reach my fundraising goal and help me getting me here. So thank you, Rochelle. And then I want to also thank everyone that's bought a t-shirt. I did some t-shirts. This is not it. I should be wearing it. But I made a Leadville 100 t-shirt, kind of themed around the Iron Cowboy. It's got a skeleton riding a bike in the mountains. I think it turned out really cool. Designer did that for me, named Morgan Jacob. If you guys need any design work, I would recommend her. And yeah, thank you for buying a t-shirt, because that's also helped get me here. So I'm going to wrap this up. I got a bike ride later this afternoon with the Mayhem crew. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. It's long, a lot of talking, a lot of stories, but I'm really grateful to be here. I'm excited to challenge myself. I'm thankful for all the help I've had to get here, and that's coming here to help me. And yeah, hopefully see you at the finish line under 12 hours. Thanks. Alright, well, we did it. I want to just do a quick video to tag on the end of this guy. Thanks for watching if you made it this far. But yeah, we're like a week after Leadville. I wanted to shoot a video. I tried shooting last week, but I ended up getting a cold. So I was all congested and just didn't sound very good in general. So I figured I'd wait a week to make this video. But yeah, giving an update on it. I finished in 10 hours and 21 minutes, faster, quite a bit faster than I anticipated and planned for, which is awesome. Again, I'm super grateful for the opportunity and super grateful for everyone that helped me get me there, whether it be my family and friends, my crew members that helped crew, people that sponsored me, again, White Mountain Dental, Bike and Trike, Rock Springs Honda Toyota, Vaughn's Plumbing and Heating, Brokerage Southwest, all you guys that helped. Again, another huge help, and thank you to Rochelle Stratton for helping me get my donation dollars reached. It's really hard to explain, you guys, the emotions and feelings that happen after the race, mainly because it's just this cumulative buildup for so long. When I got picked, you know, that process started back in February, and this nice long buildup of training for something and having a very specific goal, really getting away from CrossFit there at the end to be more sport specific for that goal. And just the hours and stuff that went into it. It was just kind of like, man, you know, a big kind of, I guess like an emotional dump just happened at the end of the race, right? I mean, you're spent. It was physically easily one of the hardest things I've done. I'd put up there with top 3 hardest things I've ever done. But at the same time, just ultra rewarding. You know, ultra rewarding to finish and reach my goal for sure. But overall, the experience in general, I think, was what was so rewarding. The people and the friends and the memories that were made through something like that. That's really what made this experience what it was, and how special it was. You know, I think there's a lot to be said about doing something hard as an experience, or just something physical in general, you know, and helping kind of like solidify that memory. It's definitely something I'll never forget. And I think, you know, there's nothing wrong with something like just going on a vacation or anything like that either. Those are memories and stuff as well. But when you add in the physicality of something like an event like this, the memory, I think, is just going to be that more substantial, have that much more stickiness, you know, to it as an experience. And not only for me, but also for my family and my friends. I think they're going to remember that for a long, long time as well. You know, people have asked about, well, am I going to do it again? You know, right now it's not on my radar to do again, especially next year. Again, with us expecting our third kid coming up, my life's going to continue to get even busier. But that's not to say I won't ever race my bike again. I think I'm going to continue to ride my bike. I enjoy riding my bike. There's a couple other bike races I kind of have on my radar that I think would be fun to do. One of them is called the Unbound 200. It's in Kansas, 200-mile gravel race. So stuff like that. Again, they're kind of big bucket list items, probably one-time deals for me, but I think, again, would be memorable and something to train for down the road. But again, I got a lot of life left to live, and I want to experience a lot of different things. Again, so yeah, I wanted to say thanks for everyone that helped donate. If you've been watching, for following along during the whole process, and show you guys the hardware real quick. I got it in the truck, but there she is, baby. The coveted belt buckle. Feels good to have it. I joke with my couple of my buddies that have horses now. I'm like, hey, so now I can actually wear a belt buckle without you giving me shit because I earned it. So anyway, thanks for watching. And yeah, go do something hard. It's good for you. It'll change you. And yeah, until next time.